Saturday night at Doug Kingsmore, Clemson rallied from 2-0 down to force extra innings, but in the top half of the 13th, Stephen Wells, his 5th home run of the season, snapping the deadlock. Florida State led 3-2, dodged a bullet in the bottom half of inning number 13, en route to the one-run victory and a milestone for their longtime head coach Mike Martin. He becomes the all-time leader in NCAA baseball wins, his 1,976. Now we get ready for Game 2 in the series, coming up. It's the ACC on ESPN. A beautiful Sunday afternoon for baseball here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium. A top 15 battle once again. The Florida State Seminoles against the Clemson Tigers. Tigers sitting in first place in the ACC Atlantic Division on a windy day at Doug Kingsmore. They hope to get things going back in the right direction after having their 8-game winning streak snapped and a 7-game ACC run stopped. But NC State playing outside of the conference this weekend, so they can't impact things in the standing. Tigers lead over third place Florida State now at 2 games, and Clemson trying to also overtake North Carolina for the best conference record in the regular season overall. Hi friends, and welcome back in with Kyle Parker, Pete Hannity with you. So Tigers will try to get things going back in the right direction. Florida State, of course, can clinch the series with a win, but both teams have to deal with the fact that they played 13 innings pretty late last night, and now they have to turn around for a mid-afternoon game.
And a lot of bonus baseball yesterday. It's going to come down to hitting with runners in scoring position. Both teams left a lot of runs out on the base, so if they swing it well today, whoever does is going to be victor.
Yeah, the team's coming through just twice in the clutch last night, and those kind of games happen and end up going 13 because of that. And once again, a Clemson team that coming into the series have been doing some good things with the bats, but you just kind of got the feeling last night it just wasn't their night, managing just 6 hits in the game.
And it was tough. You had a great pitching performance, and you got to look at the bullpen. You had Miller and Gilliam going pretty deep in the game yesterday, so look for Clemson to have a good starting pitching performance.
So let's take a look at the Florida State batting order as they get set to come up here in the top half of inning number 1. Wells, the hero last night with that 13th inning homer, leads off in right field. Jackson Luke bats second in left field. Red Applin, the first baseman, at third. Cal Raleigh in the cleanup slot behind the plate. Drew Mendoza, the leading hitter on the team, at third base, hits 5th. Nick Durr, the second baseman, hits 6th. Mike Salvatore, the shortstop, the 7-hole hitter. Jared Herron getting the start today as a designated hitter. And Reese Albert, the freshman center fielder, had a big night. His home run of the 7th inning gave Florida State a 2-0 lead before the Tigers rallied with a run in the 7th and a run in the 8th. Defensively for the Tigers, Jolly, Wharton, and Beer from left to right in the outfield. Injury issues continuing for Kier Meredith, and of course Bryce Teodosio is out for a while with a shoulder injury. Cromwell, Davidson, Hall will get the start at second base today. He started in left field last night. Williams the first. Kyle Wilkie behind the plate, and Brooks Crawford on the hill. And the Tiger junior right-hander about to make his 3rd career appearance against the Seminoles. No decisions in his first 2 outings against them over the past couple of years. He's allowed 4 hits against Florida State and 1 earned run while getting a strikeout. This is his 12th start of the season, a 5-2 mark for a guy who's begun to stretch things out a little bit, although he comes off a performance last Saturday at Virginia when he got the win, but went just 5 innings.
Offered throw this fastball. He has some 2-seam action. He wants to pitch for ground balls.
Did he go? The tag by Wilkie, the appeal to first, and yes indeed, that is a strikeout to start things out. 33rd on the season registered by Crawford. The Tigers pitching staff last night coming up with a dozen Ks against the Seminoles, and very good for him as well as the others in this Tigers starting rotation. Just 12 walks allowed coming into today. Hit deep to right, way back with the wind blowing out, and that one is out of here. And Florida State striking early. Jackson Luke, their leader in home runs, hits his 11th of the season, and it's 1-0.
He wants to get his arms extended.
Monty Lee hoping to see his team bounce back. That one's ripped to deep right center field, and that one is going to sail out of here over that building behind right center. I'm not so sure the wind had anything to do with that. And Cal Raleigh, the 2nd solo homer for Florida State here in the first, his 8th of the season, and it's 2-0. Smashed up the middle. That's a base hit. Wilkie scores. They'll wave Beer. That'll tie it at 2. The throw to third to try to get Williams. No. And Cromwell moves up to second. Scored a single. 2 RBIs. And Cromwell gets the second on the throw. And the Tigers bounce right back in the home first. And we're even at 2 apiece. So I don't think Monty Lee has any thought of sending him. He doesn't have to right there. Into right. It'll get down for a hit in front of Wells. He's got the good arm. They're going to send Hall, and he'll slide in safely. Throw to second to get Davidson, and he's out. But a single and an RBI. The Tigers taking the lead for the first time this afternoon and the first time in the series, 3-2. To center field, and on the run is Wharton, and at the hill the wall reaches up, and it's out of here. And for a second time in as many games, Reese Albert, the freshman out of Jupiter, Florida, has homered, and just like that we are tied back up, this time at 3. Just as they answered Florida State's 2 runs in the first, trying to answer right now, and that one driven high and deep to left. Luke is back, reaches up, it's gone. A 3-run homer for Grayson Bird, coming through big time with his 8th long ball of the season, and Clemson indeed answers and breaks back in front, this time by 3 runs. It's a 6-3 game.
And Bird did not miss this pitch. Finally gets a fastball out over the plate, something that he can drive. He elevates to the left center field, and a 3-run home run for the Tigers.
Looks a lot different than anything we've seen. It almost looks like softball. 4 outfielders for Mike Martin, and he has the 2 infielders on the left side. And this one looking to split the difference, and a drive to right center, and it's out of here. It just got over the wall to the right of the 390-foot sign, and Chris Williams with an emphatic first hit in the series. That's his 14th homer of the year, the 2nd hit in the game for the Tigers. And the teams have now combined for a half dozen out of the park, and Clemson again scoring an inning to make it 9-4. Since flied out to right and to left. Each of those were pretty deep. This one on the right side, giving chase is Applin, the first baseman, and he makes a nice catch. Runners will tag. The throw will go to second. It gets away, so Jolly's going to come home. And to third goes Davidson. He's going to be waved. And here comes Logan Davidson. And on a pop out to the first baseman, 2 men end up coming home, and the Tigers have opened up a 7-run lead at 11-4. This season, in over 360 chances for Rhett Applin, the first baseman. This one is crushed high and deep to right, and then out like a laser for Seth Beer. The beat goes on for the Tigers, a 3rd Clemson homer on the day, and Beer, his 4th homer in the past 2 seasons against Florida State, and the Tigers open up a 12-4 lead. That is number 13 on the season, and it snaps a tie all time on the Clemson list with someone named Kyle Parker. 47th career home run for Beer. And now you, my friend, are sitting in 9th place, and Seth Beer is by himself in 8th place.
It's not a bad guy to, I guess, lose my spot to. And Seth Beer's been awesome for the Clemson Tigers. You see him drive a ball out of the ballpark. And how many times have we said something like that? He's a tremendous hitter. And you can see he's coming into his element, getting his timing back. And just drives this one out over the fence in right field. The Cajun Cafe, they love him out there.
And you have to feel like the pitcher, Ahern, was maybe a little bit rattled seeing what was going on behind him on the previous play on the pop-out, and Beer jumping on one right there. Last night, the fact that he struck out 3 times, and you could just tell the frustration. But again, that was symbolic of what this Clemson lineup has done today. Losing a 3-2 game in 13 innings, in which they had some opportunities late a couple of times to walk it off. And now they've responded with 12 runs on 12 hits, and we're not even 5 full innings into this game. And you see the comparison of catchers, and this, of course, with the backstory of the fact that Cal Raleigh at one time was committed to come to play to Clemson. Well, he ended up at Florida State. Kyle Wilkie, a year later, then Raleigh arrived in Tallahassee, got here to Clemson, and well, Kyle Wilkie has been very solid behind the plate, and especially playing significantly this year. But as a hitter, maybe not the power numbers that Raleigh provides, but the consistent hitting and extending his hitting streak now to 13 games. He's hitting .430 during that stretch, roughly.
They missed one, but yeah. Still, you'd think they'd make an adjustment eventually.
To right field, Beer going back, and halfway up the hill, he'll squeeze it for the final out. And the Tigers able to get a win to even this series. An offensive show by a Clemson team was struggled with the bats in game 1 Saturday night, but they bounced back in fine fashion with a 12-7 victory. So the rubber game coming up at 7 p.m. tomorrow night between the Tigers and Seminoles, and with the victory, Clemson increasing its lead over 3rd place Florida State once again to 3 games in the ACC Atlantic. Quite the bounce back effort by the Tiger team today.
From the get-go, the Clemson Tigers were swinging the bat. A couple guys hit some big-time home runs, and it was an exciting matchup.
Crawford the win, Carp taking the loss. And on behalf of Kyle Parker, Pete Hannity saying so long from here at Doug Kingsmore Stadium, a Clemson team that improves to 35-12 overall, 18-8 on the season. Florida State now 32-15 and 14-11. We say so long from Doug Kingsmore, and this has been a presentation of ESPN.